I picked 47 figs from this tree in my first year, and it's growing in a pot smaller than a laundry basket. If you think you need acres of land to grow fruit, I'm about to prove you completely wrong. But here's what the garden centers won't tell you about container fruit trees. Welcome back to D-Plant Studio. I'm so excited about today's video because we're diving into something I get asked about constantly: fast-producing fruit trees that actually thrive in containers. Whether you're working with a small balcony, a patio, or you're renting and want to take your fruit trees with you when you move, this video is for you. I'm giving you real timelines, real expectations, and real results. No fluff, no fantasy, and stick around because tree number 7 can produce fruit in as little as 4 to 6 months. Let's get into it. Tree 1, Dwarf Mulberry. First up, we have the Dwarf Mulberry, and this is one of my absolute favorites for container growing. I'm talking about varieties like the Dwarf Everbearing or the Pakistani Mulberry. You'll want a container that's at least 15 to 20 gallons for this one. Now here's the exciting part: you can get your first harvest in just 12 to 18 months from planting. That's incredibly fast for a fruit tree. The reason mulberries work so well is they can produce multiple crops per year, especially in warmer climates. You could be picking berries in spring and again in late summer. For care, these trees love full sun. Give them at least 6 hours of direct sunlight daily. Water them weekly, more often during hot weather, and prune them to maintain a manageable shape and size. In your first year, you can realistically expect 2 to 4 pounds of berries. And let me tell you, fresh mulberries are absolutely delicious. They're like a cross between a blackberry and a raspberry. Here's my D-Plant Studio tip: mulberries can get a bit wild with their growth, so don't be afraid to prune aggressively. This actually encourages more fruiting branches and keeps your tree at a manageable container size. Tree 2, Strawberry Tree. Number 2 is the strawberry tree, or Arbutus annudo, and this is a unique option that most people have never heard of. Use a 15 to 20 gallon container. Your first harvest will come in 18 to 36 months, so it's not the fastest, but it's worth the wait. What makes this tree special is that it produces flowers and fruit at the same time. You'll have white bell-shaped flowers and red, strawberry-like fruits on the tree simultaneously, which is absolutely stunning. This is a low-maintenance tree. It's drought-tolerant once established, it's evergreen so it looks good year-round, and it handles pruning well. The fruits have a sweet flavor with an unusual texture. They're not quite like strawberries despite the name, but they're delicious and make excellent jams and preserves. My D-Plant Studio tip: strawberry trees fruit on mature wood, so avoid heavy pruning in the first few years. Just shape it lightly and remove any dead or crossing branches. Once it's established and fruiting regularly, you can prune more confidently. Tree 3, Dwarf Banana. Tree number 3 is the speed champion of this entire list, the Dwarf Banana. I'm talking about varieties like Dwarf Cavendish and Dwarf Red. You'll need a 15 to 20 gallon container, and here's the shocking part: you can get your first harvest in as little as 4 to 9 months. Yes, you heard that right. This is by far the fastest producing fruit plant on this list. Now there's a catch: bananas need warmth. They thrive in tropical and subtropical climates, but you can absolutely grow them in cooler areas if you bring them indoors during winter or keep them in a heated greenhouse. Bananas are heavy feeders, so you'll need to fertilize them regularly with a balanced fertilizer or one high in potassium. They also need consistent moisture. Don't let them dry out completely. Here's how banana production works: each stalk produces one bunch of bananas, then you cut that stalk down, and a new one grows from the base. It's a continuous cycle. If you're growing indoors or in a cooler climate, your timeline will extend, but it's still one of the fastest options available. My D-Plant Studio tip: bananas grow from a corm, which is like a bulb. When you cut down a spent stalk, leave about 6 inches of the trunk. This makes it easier for the new shoot to emerge. And always keep at least 2 or 3 shoots growing, so you have continuous production. Tree 4, Dwarf Peach Nectarine. Coming in at number 4, we have dwarf peaches and nectarines. These require a bit more care, but the reward is worth it. Look for varieties specifically bred for containers. Bonanza Peach, Southern Belle, and Honey Babe are all excellent choices. You'll need a 15 to 20 gallon container minimum. These trees have more extensive root systems than figs or citrus. First harvest comes at 18 to 24 months, but here's an important note: peaches and nectarines need chill hours. which means they need a certain number of hours below 45 degrees Fahrenheit in winter to produce fruit. Make sure you choose a variety that matches your climate zone. These trees are self-pollinating, which is great for container growers, and they stay naturally compact with proper pruning. I won't sugarcoat it. Stone fruits need more attention. You'll need to watch for pests like aphids and diseases like peach leaf curl, but the taste of a homegrown peach is unmatched. Realistically, expect 12 to 24 fruits per season once your tree is established. My deplant studio tip: thin your fruit when they're about the size of a marble. Leave one fruit every 4 to 6 inches. I know it feels wrong to remove baby fruit, but this ensures the remaining fruit grows larger and sweeter, and it prevents branch breakage from too much weight. Tree 5: Dwarf Citrus. Tree number 5 is Dwarf Citrus, and this category is a game changer for container gardeners. My top picks are Meyer lemon, which is sweeter and less acidic than regular lemons, calamandan orange, which is super productive and ornamental, and key lime, which is perfect for cooking and cocktail. You can get away with a 10 to 15 gallon container for citrus, which is slightly smaller than our previous trees. Here's the timeline. If you buy a 2 to 3-year-old tree from a nursery, you can see your first harvest in 12 to 18 months. And once they start producing, citrus can fruit year-round, especially if you bring them indoors during winter. Citrus trees need well-draining soil. This is critical. Use a quality citrus-specific potting mix, or add extra perlite to regular potting soil. Feed them the citrus fertilizer every 4 to 6 weeks during the growing season, and try to maintain some humidity around them, especially indoors. Realistically, you'll get 10 to 30 fruits depending on the variety and how well you care for them. Meyer lemons are particularly generous producers. My deplant studio tip: citrus trees don't like sudden changes. When transitioning them from indoors to outdoors or vice versa, do it gradually over a week or two. Put them in a shaded spot first, then gradually move them into more sun. This prevents leaf drop and stress. Tree 6: Dwarf Pomegranate. Number 6 is the Dwarf Pomegranate, and this is an underrated container superstar. For true dwarf growing, look for the Nana variety, which is ornamental but produces small edible fruit. For full-size pomegranates in a compact form, go with Wonderful. A 10 to 15 gallon container works perfectly here. You'll see your first harvest in 12 to 24 months. Pomegranates have some unique advantages. They're drought-tolerant, pest-resistant, and they handle neglect better than most fruit trees. They're perfect if you travel or tend to forget about your plants occasionally. Full sun is essential for pomegranate. They need it to flower and fruit properly. During winter, cut back on water significantly. They go semi-dormant, and too much water can cause root rot. When your tree matures, expect 5 to 15 fruits per season. The dwarf varieties produce smaller fruits, but they're still delicious and packed with flavor. Here's my deplant studio tip: pomegranates flower on new growth, so prune them in late winter before the growing season starts. Remove any suckers at the base and thin out crowded branches. This directs energy into fruit production rather than excess foliage. Tree 7: Fig. Next, we're talking about figs, specifically Ficus carica. This is probably the most reliable container fruit tree you can grow, and I speak from personal experience. The best varieties for containers are Chicago Hardy, which can handle colder climates, Petite Niagara, which stays naturally compact, and Celeste, which is incredibly sweet. Again, you're looking at a 15 to 20 gallon container minimum. But here's what makes figs so special. You can get your first harvest in 12 to 24 months, and sometimes even in your first season if you buy a larger nursery plant. Figs work beautifully in containers because they have a naturally compact root system. In fact, restricting their roots actually encourages more fruit production rather than vegetative growth. These trees are drought-tolerant once established, which makes them forgiving if you forget to water occasionally. In colder zones, you'll need to protect them in winter, either by moving them to an unheated garage or wrapping them heavily. Let's talk real numbers. You can absolutely produce 30 to 50 or more figs per season from a container-grown tree. I've done it. It's possible. My deplant studio tip: in late winter, prune your fig back by about a third. This encourages new growth where the fruit will form, and it keeps your tree from becoming too leggy. Also, figs fruit on new wood, so don't be scared to cut. Last but definitely not least, we have the pineapple guava, also known as feijoa. A 15 to 20 gallon container is ideal. You'll see your first harvest in 18 to 30 months. The bonus with this tree is that the flowers are edible. They're sweet and slightly tropical tasting, so you get a harvest even before the fruit comes in. Pineapple guava is cold hardy compared to other tropical fruits. It has a unique flavor that tastes like a combination of pineapple, guava, and mint, and it's highly ornamental with beautiful silvery foliage. One thing to note, some varieties need cross-pollination, so you might need two different cultivars for better fruiting. Check with your nursery when purchasing. These trees love full sun and need moderate waters. They're not as drought-tolerant as pomegranates, but they're not as thirsty as bananas either. My D-Plant Studio tip: hand-pollinate your feijoa flowers with a small paintbrush. Gently brush the inside of several flowers to transfer pollen. This significantly increases your fruit set, especially if you're only growing one tree. Before you run to the nursery, let me share 5 container rules that will make or break your success with fruit trees. Number 1, drainage is non-negotiable. Every container must have drainage holes. Fruit trees will not tolerate sitting in water. Add a layer of small rocks or broken pottery at the bottom if your pot doesn't drain freely, and always use pot feet or risers to keep water flowing out. Number 2, size matters, but bigger isn't always better right away. Don't put a small tree in a massive container. Start with an appropriate size and upsize every 2 to 3 years. This prevents overwatering issues and gives you better control over your tree's growth. Number 3, soil recipe is crucial. Use a high-quality potting mix, not garden soil. I recommend mixing 3 parts potting soil, 1 part perlite for drainage, and 1 part compost for nutrients. Some trees like citrus need even more drainage, so adjust accordingly. Number 4, fertilizer schedule. Container plants need more feeding than in-ground plants because nutrients wash out with each watering. Feed your fruit trees every 4 to 6 weeks during the growing season with a balanced fertilizer or one specific to the type of fruit tree you're growing. Number 5, winter strategy. If you're in a cold climate, you have options. Move tender trees like citrus and bananas indoors. Cold hardy trees like figs can be moved to an unheated garage or wrapped heavily with burlap and mulch. Reduce watering significantly in winter, but don't let the soil dry out completely. So there you have it, 8 fast-growing fruit trees that are perfect for container gardening. Which one are you starting with? Drop it in the comments below. I'd love to know what you're most excited to grow. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to D-Plant Studio for more container growing secrets and urban gardening tips. Hit that bell icon so you don't miss our next video, where I'll be showing you exactly how to overwinter these fruit trees, no matter where you live. You just need the right trees, the right containers, and the willingness to try. Thanks for watching D-Plant Studio. Now get out there and start growing.